Hi everybody, and welcome to the second update video, uh, which is the progress video for version 0.2 of the FloPlan Underground Short-Term Scheduling System by Confluence. This is a video to show all of the updates that have been done since the last video. As per the end of that last video, I talked about implementing all of the different UI elements that are going to be part of the actual FloPlan 0.2 release and have them saved in the database relative to one plan, from one plan to the other. So as of right now, the actual UI elements are functionally complete. They look okay, and I'm fairly excited to say that we are actually weeks and not months away from being able to put a version of this on an actual website. So that you guys can actually start using this. So in this video, this is the full data set. We're going to use a subset of this specific data set as the example as a different plan, and we're going to walk through all of the different UI elements, and I'll talk about all of the new features that are that have been implemented since version 0.1 and since the last video. So here I come in and I'm going to create a new plan, and we've already got plan 1. So very simply, I'm just going to call this plan 2. Okay, and create it. Then we can see the graphical environment and the tree view is actually blank. I've actually enabled the upload button in the actual toolbar of the graphics area, and I'm going to be using the same data set that I've been using for quite a while. So we're actually importing this. Right now, there's a little bit of work to do on the tab, so I'm just going to click this tab again to show the actual new UI to version 0.2. Again, this is not working, but there are new elements of the UI that are working. So relative to version 0.1, the toolbar up here has been cleaned up, and pretty much what's there is working. So as per version 0.1, if I click on line 1, it's actually going to select. One of the differences is that if I actually come in here and I click graphically, I've implemented the other mechanism of selection, which is actually selection graphically, and then that updates the actual object view, I'm calling it. So in here, in terms of the toolbar, I'm just going to go through the UI sequentially in no big order. But over here, the idea is looking at this as a hierarchical view with everything collapsing is obviously useful. But a lot of times you want to look at this as a table. So the table view is actually implemented as well. So again, if I select here, it's actually going to show over on that side. And as well, I basically turn the actual selection into a bunch of little cubes as opposed to anything else. Okay, so I'm going to select that again. I'm going to come back to my tree view, which is what I liked. So in here, we basically have the ability of editing certain properties, not all the properties of a line that are global to the line, but just a few important ones, just to kind of get us started. The goal is to be able to change the line from one layer to the next, which there's a little bug for some reason. But here we're just going to kind of give some properties of the line. 96.99 meters is the length, so we can actually change that. Probably in a lot of the videos I talked about this line over here floating in space. We can actually now delete it. So I just click the delete button, and that one there, which is not connected to anything, is not going to be shown in the schedule anymore. This UI over here is going to be for version 0.2 features that we're going to talk about later on. So I'm just going to skip it for now. New to this specific version, we actually have the UI over on this side working. So again, we have our individual layers that are actually appearing over here. And we have a default layer, if you want to call it that, or development type. And when we imported, we automatically just took the default and we copied through the 4x4 tunnel width. The next step in the development is if I can actually do full CRUD on this, which I'm not going to go through. CRUD is create, read, update, and delete. So I can change these tunnel widths, but right now we're still just using the defaults to create the picture as per version 0.1. The next step is to enable, when I make changes over here, to be able to draw. But when we loaded this up right away, we don't have to hit a create button anymore. As soon as you go to this tab, the walls are going to be drawn automatically. Everything gets saved automatically to the database, and then we're ready to schedule. In version 0.1, neither the round nor the levels tab is working. The plan is to get those working before the end of the release, but again, they're not working for now. Lots of individual steps along this process that are not working. Most likely before release, we'll get rid of the ones that are actually not being used anywhere. So one of the first UIs that I got working is the geology UI. So again, we can actually go through and change. The goal is to be able to change the densities, which will affect the reporting. So that, there's been the work in the development tab that I just showed you. And then from there, we're going to jump right to the activities. So again, all of the simple UIs are there. But once again, if we want to turn around now and add, after drill, explosive charge, blast, and dig, if we wanted to add an activity called primary support, which would be rock bolting, and secondary support, we can just add new activities, change the properties of the existing activities, and so on and so forth. So here we can turn around and see that we're starting immediately. If I was to change that, the activity name, we can change the name of that, what it operates on, what it consumes, the rate, how it starts immediately, and basically toggle whether we're going to perform the task over shift change or not. I'm not going to make any of these changes because they're inconsequential right now. Again, we're just using the defaults. From there, the next thing that I've done is to actually create the shift UI. So again, if we wanted to add a third shift, we can actually just click add here and add an afternoon shift, and then have 3 shifts, 3 8-hour shifts. If we wanted to change the start time, we can actually just edit this and have it start at 6 a.m. So upon release, there'll be some documentation or small videos under the help menu to try to explain how we do those types of things. So that's the second piece of UI. The next piece of UI is the task UI. This is not anything new. The difference is, obviously, other than knowing which plan that we're in and being able to switch, all the controls are actually now onto a toolbar, and we have the start date that defaults to today's date, which is the date on the server. So here it says April 9th, and this is defaulting to April 10th, but we can change that. And the only thing that we need to do is actually just create schedule. And as per before, the 5 steps of the schedule is actually are going to step through themselves automatically on this specific step of the FloPlan workflow. So step number 1, creating the base schedule. That's just creating all the tasks and subtasks, and then all of the other steps. We'll just continue and go through. And again, what we're doing is we're subdividing things into task breaks, yellow and blue, and we can go in to the specific schedule, and we can actually show all of these things. Again, hitting the control key, I can actually zoom in and zoom out, and in order to see the whole thing, I can collapse my rounds, which makes the schedule a bit easier to repeat, and compress it a bit more, a bit less. Okay, and if I really wanted to, I can collapse the activities, okay, or just collapse the activities to show them all in one row. And if I wanted to see it all, I can actually just zoom back out and give myself a bigger spacing. So I come back to this row. Once again, we're starting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a 1 hour no work time after the start of shift, and then we have our blasting that's happening at the end of shift. So nothing new there in terms of version 0.1, just the same features. There was a button here that I got rid of. What I was trying to show you the last time are the actual individual reports. So once again here, by default, we're actually looking at everything in days. Okay, and if I wanted to see more compressed, this is the number of weeks that the schedule is active to. And if we wanted to go the number of months, it's going to show the months over which this whole schedule is happening. And I can actually turn around and show my production time. So, and then once again, we'll just jump right to the month to see what's going on over here. Okay, so that's my plan 2. Now if I wanted to, I can come in here and open once again. Sorry, I'm going to create a new one, new plan, and we're going to create plan 3. Okay, and then from there, again, we're going to start over. We're in plan 3 over here, and we can import some new geometry. So I'm going to try this one over here, see what it looks like. Okay, we can see we have something a bit different going on here. Let me try a different one. Let's see what this one gives me. Okay, it's the same one with the actual crosscuts. So again, just clicking on the wall outlines is going to take me right away, create the wall outlines. Go to the task. Okay, and just to make a bit of a difference, I'm going to go start this one later on the 20th and create the schedule. And take the time to talk about the 5 steps. So creating the base schedule is all the tasks, the subtask and task breaks. The next step of the actual schedule are to create the predecessors. So those are the arrows that appear in the actual Gantt chart from round to round, from one activity to the next. As well as from one tunnel to the next, handling all of the intersections of the 3 steps, of the 3 levels of predecessors. Ultimately, under precedence, we'll be able to control, add additional ones, and change the display attributes is the goal. Then after that, we update all of the tasks, start and end dates based on their predecessors. The 4th task after that, when we update the start and end dates, all of the shift change tasks go across shift change, and then we basically just split everything up across shifts. And then after we break tasks across the shift, we actually have to calculate their attributes. That's the 5 steps. And if we go to the schedule, we're going to see here that we're going to get a different schedule than what we had before. So again, I'm just going to zoom out, collapse around, and control zoom, and we can see that we have a different picture, at least of the schedule. So we've got the big long ramp, and then we have all of the other level access. We got a little ramp that goes up, the actual footwall drive, and then the individual crosscuts. And if we go to reports and back to the month, we're going to see that we're actually starting, still starting in the month of April. So going back to development, again we have here, and if I go file open and I go back to plan 1, so I'm going to go to plan 2, we're going to see that I got different development. When I come in here, I've got different tasks, they start on the 10th. So again, if I go to plan 3, there's still a few little UI glitches I'm going to have to fix before release time. But you can see that we're starting over on the 21st. That's interesting because then my reports, there's a bug in the reports, but we'll have to chase that through. But definitely from the schedule, from the perspective of the schedule, we can actually still see our graphical results as being something different. So okay, so we'll keep this video short and sweet. So between now and the next update, I'm going to be working so that we can actually do some edits in the individual UI elements and actually start to change the schedule. If we make the tunnels bigger or smaller, the tasks are going to take longer or shorter, all else being equal. Obviously, if we add additional activities, it's going to take longer to do development on it's going to take longer to mine through all of the individual development, all the individual rounds. So that's the goal for the next update. I hope you enjoyed this video and seeing things come together. I look forward to the next video, after which we'll be able to actually put this thing on a website for you guys. Thanks a lot for your attention, and we'll talk to you next time.